Story 1. Original post. Am I the a-hole for refusing to thank my sister-in-law because she had to babysit her own kids? My 22 female brother, 35 male, surprised me 6 months ago by planning a trip to Scotland for my birthday. He knew I've never traveled before and wanted to take me to my dream country. Due to tight finances, it was just the two of us, which I was okay with since at the time, him and I were close. For context, my brother is married and has 2 kids under 6. His wife, 34 female, had said she was happy for me and didn't mind holding down the fort for a week while we're on the trip. Her and I have never been close and, quite frankly, just tolerate each other for the sake of keeping the peace. She's never been a fan of how close my siblings are with each other. It all comes down to growing up in different family dynamics, in my opinion. Anyway, the trip was amazing, and I loved every second of it. I was on such a high when we came back that I thanked my brother so many times for doing this for me, until he told me to shut up, LOL. I thought everything was good, and we resumed our lives normally. Imagine my surprise when I get a text 3 days after coming back from my sister-in-law, telling me off and calling me rude and ungrateful, because I didn't send her a text thanking her for babysitting on her own and having to do everything around her house for a whole week while I had fun with her husband. Yup, that's exactly how she worded it. I was flabbergasted. This is the same woman who smiled and told me to have fun on my trip, and now she's berating me for not thanking her for doing me a favor by taking care of her kids for a week. Am I crazy? Or is that totally irrational and just weird? I told her I'm not sure taking care of your own children is babysitting or doing someone else a favor, and she blew up at me, calling me a terrible, ungrateful brat, and that I never show appreciation for anything. I was so confused by all of this and called my brother, but he doubled down and told me the trip wouldn't have been possible had she not volunteered to take care of their kids so we can have fun, and that I should be thanking her for doing it for me. I was and still am confused on why I need to thank a mother for taking care of her own kids. Anyway, to keep the peace, I told her thanks for doing it, but she decided I wasn't being sincere and convinced my brother to go low contact with me. My siblings and my mom were confused by all of this, but keep telling me to just bite my tongue and not stir the pot any further. But I'm just hurt and confused. My relationship with my brother has been strained since, and it's taking a toll on me. I just need outside opinions because I'm genuinely confused on whether or not I'm the a-hole in this whole mess. Edit. I can't reply to everyone, so let me clear up a few things I feel I should have included. They do not share finances. She has never spent any money on anything related to me. Also, last year, she took a trip with her siblings abroad as well. And no, I don't know if her siblings thanked my brother for watching his kids. Finances were tight, as in my brother was paying out of his own pocket and wouldn't have been able to take anyone else with us. Plus, this trip was a birthday gift, not a family trip, so no one expected to join. I did thank them both when I was first told about the trip, and I asked my brother if he was sure it was okay for us to go, and he assured me we were set, and I only needed to have fun. I later learned that she didn't contribute anything to the trip and said she wouldn't have wanted to take a trip with me anyway. Hope this clears something's up. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. That's between you and your husband, would have been my only reply. Not the a-hole. If anything, he should be the one thanking her for taking care of their kids. You got invited to go, and it was a gift to you. I've never been thanked for watching my kids, LOL, which I agree and understand. It's a lot of work, but she also agreed to do it, so you guys could go. I don't think you're the a-hole here. Did anyone thank brother for caring for his kids while his wife was away with her siblings? Same thing. I think the wife was jealous that OP went on a vacation with her brother, and they had the utter gall to have a great time, unlike the brother and the wife. Not the a-hole. His absence made her life harder, and she resents it after the fact. Babysitting is the wrong term. But you are never wrong for thanking the parent who didn't go on the vacation for staying back and doing the 24/7 solo care for an extended period of time so that you and your sibling, friend, travel mate can enjoy yourselves without worry. Exactly. Am I living in an alternate world? Wife stayed home so her husband and OP could go on the trip. Without the wife, the trip would not have been possible. Why wouldn't you thank them both? I understand that a 22-year-old might not think of it initially, but to double down when it is brought up is ridiculous. I am so sorry that I did it. Initially, thank you for supporting this trip. It was an amazing gift. And thank you for your support in going solo with the kids and house while we were away. I know that must have been difficult, and it means a lot to me. Done. Takes literally nothing but grace, which OP seems to lack in this instance. Side note, if I were the wife, I would not have said anything to OP. I wouldn't fault the wife for not supporting future trips either. Thorough. Honestly, I don't think OP is an a-hole, but the brother did put a lot on his wife, and if it was me, I would have been thanking her profusely. Bro spent a lot of time and money on a trip that his wife and kids were excluded from, and sister-in-law stayed home holding the bag, and was very nice and generous about it until OP just ignored her contribution. That wonderful trip wouldn't have been possible if sister-in-law hadn't been willing to make that sacrifice. If my husband had done that to me, hey hun, I'm taking my sis on an amazing vacation. See you in a week and good luck with the kids. I don't think I would have been that generous. Exactly! I can't believe some of these comments. It's a simple, thank you. I can't imagine not thanking someone for taking on additional work to make something like this possible for me. OP is making it sound like the sister-in-law is trying to take her left kidney. Update. Thank you to everyone for the insight on my previous post. The post kinda blew up in a way I wasn't expecting, and the responses were overwhelming. But I now understand that I did not react correctly to her texts. This is a long update since a lot has happened. To clear up a few things before I continue with the update, a lot of you are fixated on the fact that I said finances are tight. I didn't mean their overall finances. They have separate finances, and from my understanding, they only share finances when it comes to their household and kids. Anything else they pay from their own pockets, and don't interfere in what they spend their money on as long as the kids are good and household is running smoothly. So since my brother was paying for this trip on his own, he couldn't take many people with him, as that would put a bigger financial burden on his personal savings. They're doing fine financially. They take family trips once a year. I did thank them both when I was initially told about the trip. My sister-in-law later made a snide comment about how this was all my brother and she didn't contribute to the trip at all. Last year, sister-in-law and her siblings went on their own trip while my brother took care of everything, and he was fine with it. My family dynamic is apparently confusing you guys, but we're 5 siblings that are very close and hang out regularly and have a close bond with our mom, especially since our dad passed away. We are from an Asian country, and the culture here and the bonds between families are different from the West. To those who said maybe she's salty, I'm getting a trip when I've never helped them out. I babysat my sister-in-law's babies for 5 days a week for months each time her maternity leave ended, and each time they stopped needing me to help out, only my brother thanks me, and that's fine with me. Sister-in-law has never thanked me or my siblings for anything we do for them. She says the fact that we're so eager and willing to drop everything to take care of each other is weird and unhealthy. I did thank her once I realized I should just keep the peace and tell her what she wanted to hear. Still, she didn't accept my thank you after I made the babysitting your own kids comment. I understand I was an a-hole for saying that now, since a lot of you have pointed out that it was rude and that I'm not a mother and don't get it. But to be fair, her texts were full of insults. She kept doubling down on the fact that she was stuck babysitting because of me. Many of you asked why I wasn't offered the ticket and went on my own. In our culture, women, especially young ones, don't travel on their own without either a family member or their husbands. It's not about control, but more out of protection for us. So going on my own wouldn't have been an option. On to the update. Strap in, this is a long one. So I talked with my mom to better understand the situation, since many of you said I'm not a mother and don't get it. And she said my sister-in-law worded it wrong, but maybe she just wanted gratitude for helping my brother out. 'Cause being a parent isn't easy. I understand that I reacted to her messages wrong when I could have just said a simple thank you. But neither I or my mom understand why she was so aggressive towards me in her texts. The aggression is what made me become so defensive. I found out from my siblings and my mom that my brother only paid for the tickets and the accommodations, and that my eldest brother is the one that provided the pocket money for food and buying stuff on the trip, and that my siblings chipped in but didn't want the credit since my brother wanted this trip to be like a thank you for helping them out so much with their kids over the years, and that he had cleared it with his wife, and she had given him the go-ahead. She also told me that he had asked sister-in-law if she wanted to come with us on the trip and leave their kids with my mom, who was fine with that. But she declined as she and I aren't close, and it would have been weird for the both of us. My mom told me that my brother actually asked her to check in every day with sister-in-law to make sure all was well and to see if she needed anything. She also said my brother asked sister-in-law's sisters to check on her as well. It turns out sister-in-law had taken the week off of work. I didn't know that. And for 4 out of the 7 days we were in Scotland, she dropped her kids off at my mom's. And the other 3 days when my mom called sister-in-law said she had her sisters with her and didn't need any help. So what the hell was she so mad about? It's clear to me that she wasn't abandoned by my brother as some of you suggested. My siblings initially wanted to just keep the peace. But after I showed them my sister-in-law's texts, they were surprised and appalled by her words. They thought this whole thing was a simple misunderstanding, and now understand that it had become bigger, and that my brother and I aren't talking. My sister decided to investigate, and called my brother to understand what happened. And it turns out my sister-in-law told him that my mom and siblings didn't check in on her at all, which is a lie. My sister even dropped off food for them twice. And that the kids were upset their dad left them and were throwing tantrums all the time. Also, probably not true. And that this wasn't what they had agreed on when he told her about the trip months ago. He was too busy trying to calm my sister-in-law down to confirm with the family whether or not it was true. My sister then asked him if he'd seen the texts his wife had sent me, and he said he hadn't, but that sister-in-law told him she just asked me for a simple thank you for all her hard work, and that I blew up at her and told her she didn't deserve anything since she didn't pay for the trip, and that she was entitled. He said he was hesitant about believing that since he knows I'd never outright disrespect someone like that, even if I don't get along with them. But she insisted that it happened, and that she had no reason to lie. And as her husband, she needed his support, not his questioning, and that's why he sent me the text saying I needed to thank her. My sister then let my brother know about everything that happened and told him, more like demanded, that they apologize to me, which I didn't think was necessary. I just wanted my brother to talk to me again. And he sounded upset and told her he'll figure this out after talking to his wife. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. Sister-in-law and my brother had a massive fight, and he demanded to know why she lied and caused so much drama. And she broke down and told him that he was too close to me and my siblings, and that she hated how the whole family babied me. I'm the youngest. And that his siblings' relationship with each other made her uncomfortable, and she just wanted him to put a little distance between himself and us, because her family isn't as close to each other, and kept telling her our close dynamic is weird and toxic. He told her her behavior is unacceptable, and that she caused a rift between not only him and I, but also him and the rest of his siblings as well, because now they're mad at him. My brother did call me, and he apologized for doubling down on what his wife said. He said it was already tense in their house and he was just trying to keep the peace and be supportive. But he shouldn't have treated me this way, when deep down he knew I wasn't at fault. He also let me know that for the time being, sister-in-law will go no contact with my siblings, and I while they go to marriage counseling, and sister-in-law goes to therapy cause her behavior wasn't normal. He sounded exhausted and defeated, and I just told him we're all here for him if he needs us. He made it clear that the no contact is only for my sister-in-law and assured me he won't limit his contact with me and apologized for doing so without even talking to me first. I asked him if he'd like me to reach out to her and apologize for what I said and give her a sincere thank you, but he said no, that it was never about the gratitude to begin with, and that it's apparently a bigger issue between them that they need to figure out on their own, that we shouldn't contact sister-in-law unless she reaches out first, as she doesn't want to have any contact with us. He also apologized for her language with me on the texts, but I told him not to worry about it. Safe to say, sister-in-law's relationship with us is never going to be the same again after this. And to be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of hers, but I was civil and polite to her in the past, 'cause my brother loves her and we've never had any issues prior to this. I do feel really guilty that all this happened because of the trip planned for me, but my siblings keep telling me it's not my fault. My mom says I should have just thanked my sister-in-law and kept the peace instead of having this all blow up so much. But my siblings told her that even if I had apologized, it wouldn't have mattered, as my sister-in-law would have found something else to cause a problem. But they also told me what a lot of you had mentioned in the comments, that saying thank you was the polite thing to do, and that taking care of kids full-time is not the same as babysitting them for a few hours, and it would have been good to tell her she's appreciated. But they understand that I don't have the understanding of what it means to be a parent, and that having someone basically verbally attack me wouldn't have made me reciprocate with kindness. And I get it. I was ignorant about it, and I acknowledge that. There are a lot more details, but that's the gist of it. Brother and sister-in-law's marriage is strained right now, and so is his relationship with us, but I hope that everything works out okay. I really love my brother and hate seeing him so defeated. Part of me wishes we never went on that trip because all this drama is draining. To clarify something, the only reason I was questioning the whole "I babysat my kids as a favor to you" is because I always see people criticizing fathers who say that and calling them out, because kids are the parents' responsibility and not a chore or a favor for anyone. I thought this applied to both mothers and fathers, but perhaps I was mistaken, because my only point of reference on this topic is what I see on the internet, as I'm not a mom. And since a lot of you have said I'm the a-hole and that she deserved a thank you and a gift, I messed up the thank you part, but I did buy her a magnet for their fridge since she likes to collect them. I went a little crazy and brought back little souvenirs for myself and everyone else as well, and it would have been weird and rude to give her kids gifts and not her. So I got every single family member a small Scottish-themed present. I was excited about being in Scotland, LOL. Thank you all for your insights and advice. I really appreciate it whether you thought I was or wasn't the a-hole. All your opinions put things into perspective for me. Some comments were outright nasty though, and I didn't think name-calling was productive or necessary. But oh well, that's the internet. Now for the comments. It's not babysitting if it's your own kids. You weren't wrong. I understand there's a lot more going on, but she used you as her scapegoat, and you stood up to her. That's why she doubled down and got even nastier. Good for you, by the way. The dumb thing is, OP plenty of time babysat their kids. Got no thanks from sister-in-law. During the holiday, OP's mom and siblings did a ton of babysitting or assistance for sister-in-law. Sister-in-law also had her holiday without kids earlier too. And sister-in-law cracks it over wanting thanks from OP? Wow. As a mom, there was no need for you to thank sister-in-law for babysitting her own kids. If my husband went on a trip with his sister, I wouldn't have expected my sister-in-law to thank me for watching my own kid. I would, however, expect my husband to thank me for holding down the fort, but not my sister-in-law. Look, kids are tough. Child rearing is hard work. But that's between husband and wife, mom and dad. No one else. You were not ever expected to thank your sister-in-law. Anyone suggesting otherwise can go watch their own kids. So she's just bitter and jealous that you guys all have such a great relationship, and she let her family's trash talk convince her to act like a hag. Unless she gets some therapy and fixes her own issues, there's nothing else for you all to do. I suggest you just keep having a close relationship between all the siblings. including your poor brother who's stuck with a woman so jealous of his family that she wanted to alienate him. Make sure she doesn't succeed. Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.